I didn't put, what I just gave you was a comparison from this year to last year, and just credit the council, just a couple of highlight things. Last year, our building permits, most towns are way down. We're almost exactly the same now. Last year it says 101,000, but that's 60-some $1,000 we got from Pendelco.
Yes.
On the one permit, which is like a one-time thing. So we're probably a little bit ahead this year on permits. And if you look at the, and so same with inspections, we're right in line. Our health insurance is down a little bit. I also have in here the police vehicle, we were gonna finance it. I still can at the end of the year, there's a loan in place, but we're doing so well, knock on wood, doing well in considering the conditions that we can pay it in full this year. If not, if we see things tightening up in the next 2 months, I'll kick the loan in and they'll pay us the money and then I'll just make the first payment. But if you look at the bottom line on page 3, the net income this year right now is about $470,000. Now that doesn't reflect the $100,000 we got to pay back on the TAN.
Right.
So in theory, it's 370. So, and then if you look at last year, it was 305 at the same time period. But if you back out that $61,000, we're ahead by almost $100,000. And I do this in other towns, and I wish it was this good in other towns. And the earned income tax is off by $231, but where we're going to feel the lag in the earned income taxes the next couple months.
Quarter.
Yeah, the third quarter. I'm president of the tax collection committee, and the guys from Keystone said you'll feel it next quarter. So I'll have a better feel for next budget meeting where we're going, what we can budget for that next year, for that and the LST. Just and then a couple things to highlight. Our MMO will be down roughly $13,000 from this year, which is good, real good. That's our minimum municipal obligation that we have to pay towards the state. The state, our actuary gives us calculates a number. We have to pay it towards the police pension or the borough's portion, and it's required by law. And it's down. Our payment's down by about $13,000, which is great.
That's what we passed last month, Scott.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then you have small increases in pay. Now our trash and recycling is going up to roughly $15,000, which isn't too bad. We raised our fee to $228 last year.
Right.
But with the system, but you're getting 2 pickups every week of the year. Pretty damn good price, $228.
And they've been picking up 150% of the usual trash because nobody's throwing away trash at school or work anymore. They're all throwing it away at home.
Yeah, home, okay. Yeah,
Now,
makes sense.
Joe, are we going to have to increase the tax?
Well,
or the
depending on what
trash
you do,
fee?
$10 would cover it. If you have to increase it $5 to $10, I would suggest. I just think the trash should be increased every year because it's not a tax, it's a service. And you're one of the few towns that provides trash pickup twice a week all year round. I mean, Aston, where I live, I pay well over $300, and we only get twice pickup in the summer. We don't get anything in the fall.
Are you
winter.
going to recommend $10 increase?
I recommend that now, but like I said, the numbers, it's real early, and it's real difficult to budget this year because with the pandemic, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And that's the only reason I'm a little hesitant to put any numbers down. And until I get the calculation on the mill, because we're going to feel our transfer tax, we're going to feel because there's not properties moving too much, because people can't afford to move. Some people can't afford it, so that tax is down. Our earned income tax, we're going to feel it in the next quarter. It'll come down because they'll
And
get
the
caught. Court fees are down.
Fees are down.
We're lucky, Nick's doing a good job with the code. I mean, our permit fees are staying right in line with the prior year, which is good. We got to still look for grants. The CARES Act, the chief said, there's going to be hopefully some more stimulus money depending on who wins the election, I guess, in November. But if that money comes down, we might be able to pull some of that money to offset some of our COVID expenses that we've experienced.
We applied for 3,000 plus.
I saw that in you guys.
We have not received it to
Okay.
cover police overtime.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's,
So we haven't gotten it.
okay.
Nobody's gotten it. It's not just us.
But your police budget's
not.
down because you don't have the 2 full-timers anymore. You just
That's
have the 1
correct.
full-timer. And the chief just gets a small increase too. So you
Correct.
you guys have a pretty good police budget and it's run real well. But it's just, I'll have the numbers for you that you don't get, it's not guaranteed you have to raise the 2 mils to cover that fire expense either, because it'll see how much money, cash we have on the side. You might want to use some reserve, stuff like that.
Well, council did talk about taking $10,000 and putting it in savings. If there is a reserve, I don't know, I think we mentioned this last year, we want to start a savings account for emergency.
Right.
So if there is a reserve, I'd like to see something going into a Pliget account.
And could you also possibly even you give them 25,000, or 25, or 130, 120 $40,000, $30,000 a quarter, you could possibly even pay that fourth quarter in January and only budget 75, and then next year you can push it a few days. I mean, that depends on what you want to do.
Well, they've just sold a piece of equipment, and they've also got another one listed for sale, so
Okay.
I understand they'll be fine for the first 6 months.
Okay,
For this
okay.
3 months and the next 3 months.
Okay.
But I truly think that we've all thought that a savings account is relevant.
Yeah, and I do have money in an account, so. I mean,
Okay.
But it's, and in the last couple of years, we've been able to continue all your services and reduce spending, which is pretty darn good. I mean, we haven't cut any services. We've added to, and the only thing that's really gone up is the trash fee, and that was because you got the recycling cost went up. But that's, you know, and then the truck bed, you decide if you can do it this year or next year for
Well-
the 18th.
Do you want to get back to Joe and bring it up at council next, is it next week?
Yep, next week, next Wednesday.
We'll get back to you on that after.
And then the only other
Right.
problem is, I'm looking at going forward is cash flow, like, if there's no vaccine and they can't get a handle on this pandemic, how the winter goes, people might forego paying the discount period with their real estate taxes next year and push it into maybe the penalty phase because they just are worried they might not have $2,000-3,000 to
Exactly.
pay their food bills and stuff. So then we might feel a cash flow crunch at the beginning of the year if people don't pay their taxes. This year we didn't feel it because the majority of people in Parkside pay early, and that was prior to the pandemic really taking off. So that's something we need to look at next year. We may want to even think about
Hold something
yeah,
back.
exactly, or get a little bit more on our TAN, maybe 150, which would be peanuts and interest, because the interest, we're getting money for free pretty much. And the loan in the building, it's the only loan we have on our balance sheet, that's coming down quite a bit. We only owe a couple $100,000 on that, and that's the only outstanding debt we have. So if anything did happen, we had to go look for a loan. We're knocking on wood, pretty good financial situation to get money in an emergency.
Okay, great.
So it's a credit to everybody on the county.
Thank you, Joe.
I appreciate it, Joe. It's good to see you.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I mean, it might be an added expense, but it's for the chief. What would it be to bring back the summer patrol?
The bike
Would they shut the
patrol?
Bike.
Would that, I mean, is that possible? I mean,
Sure, anything.
just like on the weekends?
I agree.
I think that was an added
One
feature
of the
that we...
things that, and I had talked to the mayor about it early in the summer, because of everything that we were dealing with COVID, with some of the early demonstrations and not knowing what was going on and how, we brought in a lot of folks for a number of those events. So I decided, not to use the bike patrol this year. Can we bring that back? Sure.
Great.
Sure, and I don't see any reason why, under normal circumstances, we wouldn't do that. The money, we don't have to change the budget for that, the money's there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that that was an added
Yeah,
expense.
no, we would have sufficient funds to do that.
I think that would be something for the residents.
I love the
Like on
bike
Friday,
patrol.
Saturday, and Sunday.
I'm making a note. I'll remind you in the spring, God willing, I'm still operating.
Just with all the stuff that's going on. in local
I
areas.
agree. I love the bike. I love to see it, and the kids love it,
Yeah.
you know? Does anybody else on council have anything they'd like to input?
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
You can. Thank you, everyone. And I will remind council